Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Sinclair. I've never been very good at tennis, but I enjoy both playing it now and then and watching it. Like many of you, I remember the exciting matches between greats Navratilova and Evert, Connors and Agassi, McEnroe and Bjorg. Who could forget those? And more recently, others have provided similar excitement, right? Djokovic, Federer, Nadal and Medvedev and Wozniacki and Coco. And let's not forget Serena. And whether you follow tennis or not, you probably would agree that the terminology, the scoring are a bit odd. Love is the word for zero. No comments there, please. Their first serves and their second serves. When things are even, it's called deuce. And you can get the advantage and lose the advantage numerous times in one game. More on that in a minute. However, in each game, the first point is called 15, really? The second, 30, the third, 40, and then the next point without a tie at 40 wins the game. I'm wondering if tennis was invented, I think, in the British Isles somewhere. I'm guessing those guys drawing up the rules were drinking large amounts of alcohol. Nonetheless, I digress. To win a match, you have to take 6 games, which gets you 1 set. But then you have to win so many sets, usually 2 out of 3, except in more advanced settings, usually for men, it's 3 out of 5. Got it? Oh, and did I mention that if the 2 players both get to 6 games at the same time, they play a tiebreaker. Even the players don't know the rules for that. So you know what they do? They just keep playing until the referee says, stop, you win. Okay, so only an infinitesimal number of people in the world actually understand the rules of tennis. However, there do happen to be a few life lessons that I think we can all learn from, model, and maybe pray for in our homes and our leadership, communities, general culture today. That would probably help our society immensely. Let's take a look at a couple. For example, in tennis, players take turns serving. They switch serve every other game. You see, you can't win a game, set, or a match without serving some of the time. Unfortunately, many people today, from individuals to leaders to famous stars to college professors to just everyday people, think otherwise. Because for them, life's all about them. See, only their opinions or their needs seem to matter. They may talk about caring and all that, but they rarely discuss serving other people. They rarely give examples of that. They just serve themselves, it seems like, and their views as if no others count. That often shows itself in a form of entitlement. For some, it's anger, even rage, or just plain old narcissism. And if they don't get what they want, when they want it from whoever they want it, often they refuse to serve. They're not going to do their part to make a difference and serve others. In fact, they often go after their opponent. To use tennis terms, they only want to receive serve. But like tennis, if you don't serve, you won't win. Yeah, that's true in life. And neither will the fans, the people around you. The contest will be over. And if the non-serving player gets challenged for ruining the game, not being fair or helpful, even being destructive, they would just call the critics names. They blame them for the results and even have their next temper tantrum like some preschooler. Or worse yet, they destroy or encourage others to destroy things of value that their opponent values. Doesn't sound like serving, does it? See, in the New Testament, Galatians 5:13 says it pretty simply. Through love, serve one another. Unlike tennis, love in our culture doesn't equal zero. Love matters. We all desire it. We need it. Both sides do. Which leads to a second comparison to the game. Another practical application from this great game of tennis is the advantage. I alluded to it earlier, but here's the deal. Once a tennis game is tied at 40, players must win a point to get the advantage. because from there, once they have the advantage, then they get the next point, they win the game. In other words, you got to win by 2. You won't win the game if you don't get an advantage first. Well, you know what? I wonder if more people don't need to understand the advantages of serving others. See, if we want to win in life, be fulfilled, find true happiness and joy, feel like we've made a difference, and those are pretty major advantages, we got to serve. There are potentially wonderful outcomes from serving, but they won't ever be ours if we only take and don't give. If we demand to be served, but we refuse to serve others. You ever notice how so many people online or in public, in private, all over the place, who seem unwilling to serve and just want to take or criticize others? They're so unhappy. Of course, serving can take myriad forms, but a few basic actions and attitudes could change so much of the angst and the dysfunction and their rage and hurt in our culture today and bring some peace and joy. For example, how about just being kind? Ephesians 4:32 says to Christians, be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving each other. See, Jesus, in just 3 years of public ministry, was also said to have gone about doing good. Or how about listening to each other's views, even if they're different? Proverbs 18:13 says, spouting off before listening to the facts is both shameful and foolish. People need to realize that listening doesn't make us weak, but rather it strengthens or is an advantage to our thinking, our commitment, and our confidence. And what about stopping the name calling, the expletives that some go to, the shaming or the exaggerations make us look better, and some other pretty vile talk? See, honesty, even if it's not easy to say, is part of healthy communication. Vitriol stops it. Just having a meaningful, fair, and open discussion is an advantage, and it will build relationships, not tear them down, if we do it right. However, so many today, including some on both sides of arguments and community issues and whatnot, seem to think that the courageous, honest action is to go on social media. Just spout off about one thing that bothers them, then talk as though everyone on the other side thinks that way. Not fair, but better yet, where's the serving? Who are they serving? Who are we serving if we choose that route? Where are the actions that actually model better thinking? Where are the examples of those more public, famous, influential people who serve others rather than shame them, who give instead of go after, who listen instead of lecture, who learn what they have in common, not just in conflict? See, we got to understand that we can't win in life, as in tennis, unless we serve. Serving isn't always easy or comfortable, but it's the only way to win, to be fulfilled in tennis or life. Mark 10:45 says, Jesus came not to be served, but to serve. And if our opponents refuse to serve, it's not our job to change or shame them. More arguing and logic, guess what? Won't win. Instead, we're wise to spend our time and our talents and our resources on those who do want to play and live for the good of others, to love each other and honor our God. Yep, it's our serve. Want to play? Talk to you next time.